you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to The Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to The Songwriter Show right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your host, Sarantos, a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are so important to me, and that's why I'm thrilled to host this show for you every Tuesday evening. I believe that every song is a story. Tonight, I'm so happy to have on the show Bob Augustine. Bob Augustine, aka Folk IndieBob, is a singer-songwriter based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He writes songs in a folk and folk indie style with poetic lyrics and acoustic guitar accompaniment. He's been featured at folk events, opening for many bands and poetry readings, and has received positive feedback as people enjoy his insightful writing, soulful voice, and original sound.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Bob. How are you doing tonight?
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Folk is an interesting genre that I actually love, especially the singer-songwriter part of it. So how did you decide to go into that genre?
Well, most of my music starting out back into this after a long time off was just picking up the guitar and, writing with my pen and pad and guitar. So that naturally lent itself to that style. I didn't really have a desire to form a band. Also, I like the softer genre of folk now that I'm older and I'm kind of past my hard rocking stage in those days.
Yeah.
So I'm branching out now into these other genres of folk, and the indie scene is really vibrant too, and I enjoy that.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your process. Do you start with your acoustic guitar, or how do you figure out a song?
I generally start with the music. I'll pick up the guitar, and the way it happens for me is I will just start strumming, and generally we'll come up with a progression, and I've had very good luck with that. After that, I will start humming along to get a vocal accompaniment, musically only, and then I add the lyrics last. And usually, though, while I'm doing the musical part of it, I've got some thought or feeling in mind that I'm going to end up conveying with the lyrics.
Do you play any other instruments?
I also play drums.
Drums, okay. So was your family musical at all, or how did the bug bite you?
I have a grandmother who was a singer. My father was an excellent accordion player, and my brother is a classically trained trumpet player. I just sort of never did anything formal, but started out on drums in the early days of my youth and progressed to guitar. So, yes, I think you could say it's a musical family.
Do you have any other musicians that you've learned from over the years?
I have had influences, mostly the famous people that I've seen. Starting out on drums, I really liked Mitch Mitchell, the Santana drummer, whose name is escaping me now, Michael. Anyways, the music I really loved was the late 60s, early 70s music, and Ginger Baker. And then I got into the guitar and always loved Neil Young, always loved Stephen Stills, and of course all of them together, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And Donovan is a huge influence on me. Yeah, off the top of my head, those are the two that really come to mind for guitar.
Do you perform in public pretty often?
I have been. I started going to open stages and was very awkward because I had taken close to 25 years off to do life. And now that I'm retired, this is kind of a retirement project, and started out all over again on the guitar, but luckily remembered a lot. Started going to open stages, very nervous, very, very rough. And now I'm finally to the point where I've got over 2 hours of original music written. I've got the confidence to start asking for gigs, and I've also got some very positive feedback. So the gigs are coming now, and I'm very happy about that.
I'm glad to hear that. How often do you practice?
I try to practice every day. My goal is to run through all of my songs every day, but of course that's close to 3 hours. And I do that at least twice a week, and then at least an hour a day other than that, because I'm still becoming a better guitarist. And also when you're writing, and if you're a writer, you'll know that the songs just need to be run through time and again to get them to gel and to, come to life, basically. At least in my experience, the more I play them, the more ideas I get, the smoother they are, because they're new to me too. They're new to the writer as well as the audience.
Yeah, for sure. Do you prefer performing by yourself or with a band, a couple of bandmates? What's your preference?
Well, I prefer performing by myself for two reasons. One is that I've had trouble in the past keeping bands together and relying on people, and also trouble finding people that are as excited about my music as I am. And when you're playing your own original music, people are seemingly reluctant to jump on board and get excited about it, especially when they've got their own musical life going on. So as a result, I have settled on just picking up my guitar and walking out of the house, and I am very happy doing that. And also I can make the songs sound the way I want them to. I really may someday go into a looper pedal or a little drum accompaniment on a recording, but so far it's just me and the guitar. And I like having that skill level to pick just one instrument up, stand before people and perform and get a positive reaction out of them with just me and my skills. So I like the challenge of that, and I've always been excited by those kinds of challenges to become better at things. So to answer your questions, in a line, I prefer performing alone at this point.
Yeah, I hear you, because that is a very big pain point and frustration of mine too, is just finding bandmates. Forget about finding people that are as passionate about it as I am. I feel like unless you're really making it and you can pay them more than a couple $100 for a gig or practice, you're just not going to find it, is what I've unfortunately come to the conclusion of.
Yeah.
Do you think there is a certain skill or a personal attribute that's the most important to being successful?
For me, it's always been hard work. Bottom line there. Yeah, I just practice, write. It's the only way that I have found to really cultivate my natural abilities and bring them up to a level that people appreciate.
Is there something that you would tell your younger self, something you should have done differently?
I wish I hadn't given up music for all that time. I was married and my wife passed away 2 years ago, which spurred me back into music. But she was not a musician, and we found other things to do. So that's my one thing. I would have had a much higher skill level had I done that. But on the other hand, jumping back into it fresh has given me this new perspective. And, I've got this flood of material just coming out from all the life experiences that I've had. So to my younger self, yes, I would say just don't quit.
That is so true. Don't quit. I think people quit far too easily and far too quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly due to the relationship I had with my wife, which was excellent. And we just had other things we enjoyed doing. So, the music took a back seat. Initially, when we were dating, I was writing her songs and playing guitar for her and everything. But then over time, we just drifted into other things.
Tell us about this song that we're going to hear.
Well, this one is about, it stems from my process of grieving my wife. And I'm getting pretty good at it now. But I fell for a young girl that was my friend, and she was a fellow musician, and we started hanging out, and it seemed to become a one-sided relationship where I was putting in all the effort, and understandably so. She was way too young for me on that. But in my grief, I was kind of blinded. But the point is that Yeah, that song is about a one-sided relationship where I am the candy wrapper, and as soon as I stopped giving, as soon as the candy was gone, so to speak, I got thrown away like the wrapper. So that's where all that came from. It's not the most positive theme, and I have started to write more positively. But this song was picked by a producer that I'm in a songwriter circle with, and I played a different song for him that they or for the group, and they all liked it. It was my first time at this group, and so they asked me to be on their compilation CD that they put out every year, Pittsburgh Songwriters. And I said, okay, how do I know what song to pick? How do I know this is the best one to play for you? And he said, well, send me some others. So I sent him a bunch of songs, and he picked that one. So it wasn't one that I would have picked first. So I trusted him. He put in all the instrumentation. I went into the guitar track and the vocal track just on my acoustic guitar. And then he, I thought, did an excellent job of producing it up from there. Also, it goes back to trying to find band members. I mean, the way he did it was so easy. I didn't have to chase people around and hope for the best because I thought he was really skilled at that. And if I can mention his name, I will. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
He is Mike Hickman at Electric Eye Recordings in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Excellent job he did.
Awesome. All right, I'll tell you what, let's take a listen and we'll come back and talk some more, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Check this out, everybody. Here we go. Well, thank you for sharing that song with us.
You're welcome.
What do you think is the most influential thing that's happened in the field of music in the last 5 years?
Oh, 5 years, I'm not sure about. My general take on the changes in music is has been a little longer coming as far as that goes, where the internet and everyone being able to put their music out to the world from their basically their bedroom or wherever their home. To me, that is the biggest change I've seen, and I've taken advantage of that. I'm a big fan of that because it really is nice to have people listen to you instead of going out on the street. I used to busk when I was a kid, and just to be heard.
Yeah.
So it's like busking electronically, I guess. So that to me is my biggest change that I have seen. The styles are always going to evolve. And another thing I did notice, especially in Pittsburgh, is the revival of punk rock. There are a bunch of young kids playing straight up punk rock like we listened to in the 70s and 80s. So that's something else I noticed going on.
Do you have any career advice that you've received that you want to share with the younger generation?
Musically, I'm not sure I can call it a career yet that I could give advice on. I have received plenty of great feedback, especially from the Songwriters group. The man who runs the group is John Hayes, Pittsburgh Songwriters Circle. He's very welcoming, very supportive, and also will give you his honest take. So those kinds of people I gravitate to. I don't want people just saying, oh, that's nice, and walking away. I want to hear the bad stuff too, or what could be better. So to me, I would seek out those kinds of people who are honest with you and will tell you what you can be doing better.
Okay, fair enough. If you could pick one decade, 60s, 70s, 80s, which one would you keep?
60s.
Okay, tell me why.
Musically, that was my whole early interest in music. I grew up in the 80s, actually, but I was a big fan of the Woodstock generation and all the music that came from Woodstock. Every year I sort of celebrate that in my mind. And I've driven up there to take a look and everything too. So I just love the creativity, the variation in styles, the talent level, just, it wasn't three chords. It was just so much more than that. The harmonies. So to me, that's my decade. Early 70s could be lumped in there because it did continue into there. But the influences I mentioned were all, pretty much from the 60s.
Yeah. What do you think about people that buy music or buy lyrics? They buy out the royalties, everything, and they basically will pretend that a certain lyric is theirs. What do you think about that?
As long as the artist is being paid fairly, I see it as business is business. If an artist agrees to properly contract with somebody to sell the music, I don't see any problem with that. Now, if it's stolen or a bad contract is written and someone's taken advantage of course, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But in a business sense, music has always, at least modern music, has always been a business. So that's kind of my take on that. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I feel like an artist should be flattered that somebody wants to give them money for their art and any genre of art.
I think you're right about that. And it's hard because if you're an uber talented guitar player and you want to get something for your music or your songs, you're more desperate. And sure, should you get paid $100,000? You would like it, but sometimes people sign away things for a couple $100. And I kind of go back to I just keep making more stuff. And, I've sold some of my lyrics, I've sold some of my music, but just move on. There's no sense harping it and saying, hey, that artist had a pretty decent hit with your stuff. You just move on. That's all you can really do.
Yeah, I would be flattered by that. I'm not in it for the money. I'm comfortably retired. So I probably have a different perspective than young people who think that they might have a shot at the big time, and I don't blame them for chasing that shot. I never really approached music that way ever, even when I didn't have money. I used it more as a hobby and an enjoyable thing, and I like to keep it that way. Although now that I'm gigging and things, you do need to pay attention to the business side of it and the networking and the setting up of the gigs and all. But yeah, really, I would play for free. I don't really have that perspective. So if somebody wants to come to me and use things that I have, I would be very flattered.
Yeah, I hear you, and I kind of agree with you. Okay, tell you what, tell us where people can buy and stream your stuff.
I don't actually have anything for sale, but I've been streaming on SoundCloud, just the one song. And full disclosure, that's the only song I have recorded at this point professionally. Another one is in the works with the same guy, Mike Hickman, and at Electric Eye, and he hasn't gotten it finished yet. But over time, I've got over 30 songs. I would like to put an EP together. So that is out there to listen to, Candy Wrapper. I've got clips of my performances on Facebook is the best one. I've got a full show of 40 minutes on there from Steamworks, that is a local listening room. And I'm also on YouTube, Instagram. Those are the big ones. YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay.
So with Facebook probably being the most complete that I've got right now. Although I do put a lot on YouTube too.
All right, Bill, I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Hey, Sam, I do appreciate this opportunity. It was a really great find. I had no idea it would come to this. So I'm very grateful to actually be interviewed. It makes me feel like a real musician. And so it's pretty awesome. I do appreciate it.
Awesome, Bill. I'm glad I made your night, man. So thank you to all the fans out there for listening. We both hope your unique story gets heard around the world too. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every single Tuesday evening to hear other awesome artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. Have a great night. I love you all.
Yesterday you found yourself screaming at a God you didn't believe in. Maybe he loved you, but you didn't feel loved. So just like Adam, you had to leave the garden, and like cold iron felt your blood harden. The silence grew roots, your heart grew hectic, lifeless. You're frozen, so skeptic. You felt like a doormat, hated everybody, everyone, and everything. You moved on a long time ago, but he never could just let you go. He never takes more than he needs, but sometimes he has to do things he doesn't like to, doesn't want to, but he has to do these things for you. The architect of fate knows what it takes. Love is a choice, he doesn't make mistakes. He can't force you to love him, but his love is never a mistake. Oh, he never makes a mistake. God makes no mistake. Today you can't imagine life without him. Your heart drums loud as sin. Without him it's just you, and you're so broken. Your world feels like a snow globe, but he reminds you of the day you prayed for all the things you have today. He never takes more than he needs, no, but sometimes he has to do things he doesn't like to. He just doesn't want to, but he has to do these things for you. The architect of fate knows what it takes. Love is a choice, he doesn't make mistakes. He can't force you to love him, but his love is never a mistake. Oh, he never makes a mistake. God makes no mistake. I've been there too, drowning in the air, but his story isn't finished yet. His voice always echoes through the canyons of our soul. The architect of fate knows what it takes. Love is a choice, he doesn't make mistakes. He can't force you to love him, but his love is never a mistake. Oh, the architect of fate knows what it takes. Love is a choice, he doesn't make mistakes. He can't force you to love him, but his love is never a mistake. Oh, he never makes a mistake.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.